top OT security challenges: malware, infiltration, via external hardware, and removable media. Of course, this is why we've told everybody a long time, stop picking up the USBs in the parking lot, plugging them in. But if you're working on the control system, it applies to that too. We don't want the elevator to get hacked either, right? So you're going to use that same methodology, and that's where we see a lot of overlap between 853 and 882, right? So we have to be aware of that. Malware infection via internet and intranet, right? Because it's plugged in now. IoT bots, Internet of Things bots, and DDoS, distributed denial of attacks. Of course, we're seeing these, especially if it can get to them, right? If it's now exposed on a network where it wasn't before, and it's an important control system, they can attack it and DDoS it so it can't be heard from or can't function. The security posture of subcomponents, not just the control mechanism itself, but the different modules that sit in there, or maybe the cameras that are attached to the door as opposed to just the door.
Oftentimes, a lot of ICS, they have many nodes that are all have an internet, or I shouldn't say internet, but a network presence.
Yeah,
right?
Network presence.
So you may have microcontrollers and embedded systems, and they might all have different IP addresses. Think about your iDRAC. If you have a server that has another way in to monitor your the health of your motherboard, BIOS, things like that.
Or
that
ups.
often has.
We saw some against the ups recently. Yeah.
So we're talking about network presence for all of these pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. Human error. Yes, we're humans. We are gonna make mistakes. So let's plan for that. Let's look for it. Let's make sure that we're making as few as possible. And this is where change control and other things. So you're not just one set of eyes. And then at the end of the day, watching to understand when you made that mistake, critical. Connecting to the cloud. I actually ran into a CISO once who told me they got security handled because they're going to move everything to the cloud. And I was like, is there anybody else I could talk to? The point is, just because you're putting it in the cloud doesn't mean the security is on by default. And how are you getting to the cloud? And how secure is that? And how secure is your cloud invitation? You got to ask the questions. You got to make sure that it's turned on. And especially if we're then allowing it to control the front door, right?
Well, you have to understand the threat landscape of what you're moving to when you're moving to the cloud, because it is there. It's different, but it's there.
Yeah, a lot of things. There's a lot of new hype and talk about attack surface management. That is absolutely something I believe in, and we've got to look at it. We've got to figure it out. OT and IT convergence. Yes, as we plug all those things in, the microcontrollers, as Alex mentioned, et cetera, we want to make sure that they're secure, and that our IT security is also covering those things and the Internet of Things and the cameras and all the other things we're plugging into and increasing our capabilities with, but our risk as well. And that's really what it gets into, the lack of awareness, right? The point we're talking today is to help with that. But,
well, and also awareness of your assets.
Yeah,
awareness of what needs to be on this schedule. On this.
Yeah, and when you go into assessments, whether it's CIS or NIST or any of them, you will find that almost the first thing in all of them is understanding your inventory. What do you got? How do you protect what you got?
We all know how hard
there?
That is too.
Yeah, it's really hard. And you'll have something somebody plugged in and didn't tell you about, rogue devices, et cetera. We've seen it.